I think this really is the missing link from so many diet plans and strategies. Without God, we are dependent on our own motivation and discipline. And scripture also tells us that the flesh is weak. Even when we know the right thing to do, sometimes it's just so hard to actually do.
Do you struggle to stay consistent with healthy eating and just want food decisions to be easy, guilt-free, and sustainable? You're in the right place. Hi, I'm Chelsea, nutritionist and fitness coach who overcame restrictive yo-yo dieting and body image insecurities using simple nutrition tools, all backed by biblical principles. And now I help women like you find that same freedom with food so you can feel confident in the look and health of your body for decades to come. I'm ready to dive in with you. So grab that cute notebook you've been hanging on to and let's go.
I know you have tried over and over and over again to make healthy eating part of your everyday routine, but something always gets in the way. Stress at work, birthday parties, traveling, confusion about where to start, and even straight up lack of motivation. Trust me, I get it. And it feels defeating. You want to do the right thing, so why is it so hard to stick to? If that's you, my friend, I have something that will change your life. Join me in The Sustainable Way, my one-on-one nutrition coaching program, where I will teach you my exact method for making eating healthy simple. Because if it's simple, it's sustainable. I don't want you to feel guilty about another failed diet effort ever again. Experience the same transformation with food and your body that hundreds of others have by joining The Sustainable Way. Claim your coaching spot at coachrain.com/nutrition coaching and get excited to be the next changed life. That's coachreign.com/nutrition coaching. I'll see you there. And now, welcome to Nutrition for Christian Women. I was having a conversation with a gal the other day, and she asked me what I do. So I told her, well, I'm a nutritionist, and I focus specifically on helping people, usually women, make healthful eating their lifestyle, not just a thing they fluctuate in and out of when they happen to have motivation. But I do it through the lens of scripture and what the Bible has to say about food and our bodies in conjunction with modern nutrition science. You would have thought I told her she won the lottery with the look on her face. As we continued chatting, it became clear that the concept of biblical nutrition was completely foreign to her, but she was intrigued because any diet effort she made in the past was a flop for one reason or another. I really did get the full unsolicited history from her. Then she asked me, so what exactly is the ultimate Christian diet then? And the question has stuck with me ever since. I've been thinking about how to put it in simple, concise terms, so that is what today's episode is all about. Influenced heavily by the topics discussed in my book, The Guide to Eating Biblically in a Modern World, which you can order a copy of directly from my website, coachrain.com/book. But what is the ultimate Christian diet? First thing I want to say is the term diet can mean a lot of things. I generally define it as everything you consume, be it food, TV shows, music, books, anything you take in that influences you in some way is part of your diet. But for our intents and purposes, we're just talking about the dietary food element, what you eat and what you put boundaries around to steward your body the way God intended. Sometimes when we hear the word diet, we instantly think of a short-term restriction plan. When people say, I'm going on a diet, that's usually what they're referring to. But here, we're all about the long-term, lasting habits and results. So I just wanted to make those things clear right out of the gate. Now, let's dive into the 5 pillars of the ultimate Christian diet, as I've simmered them down to, based on my own experience and through coaching literally hundreds of others through this journey. Pillar number 1, eat real food. I'm sure you've heard the term whole foods, not just the grocery store, but, unprocessed stuff suitable for eating. That's a good starting place, but I find it a bit vague and can still leave some folks confused or overwhelmed. Like, does whole grain pasta count? What about coffee? And dairy? Here's what I teach my nutrition clients in the sustainable way. If it once walked, flew, swam, or grew, it's real. Anything else is fake, and we don't need it. So if you're unsure of whether or not something is considered a whole food, see if it fits into one of those categories. I also like to use the term real food because I think it paints a clearer picture of what it actually is we eat. If we take the things like cake, soda, candy, and literally call them fake foods, as beneficial for us as the cardboard or plastic they come in, we start to rewire our brains to see the products differently. And ultimately, they are less tempting to indulge in. I give my nutrition clients extensive lists of real foods separated by category to help take the brain power out of it. You don't have to come up with all of this on your own. And I came up with this framework based on the passage in Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 3, which says, "Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, 'Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, all the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish in the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grain and vegetables.'" So that little phrase I give my clients encompasses everything on this list in Genesis, which is pretty extensive if you think about it. All right, pillar number 2 for the ultimate Christian diet: don't eat too much. This comes back to the topic of gluttony, one I think is wildly underaddressed in the church body, and one I've spoken on several times in various podcast episodes. This is a big deal because ultimately it comes down to idolatry of food. And God takes idolatry very seriously. The first commandment is to have no other God besides Him. And virtually every instance throughout Scripture where a group of people created an idol, God destroyed it and usually them. He says He is a jealous God in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 14 through 15. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to make the one who has the power to give and take away everything, including life itself, angrily jealous. Which means nothing and no one can come before God in my life. In Proverbs chapter 23, verse 2, it says, "If you are a big eater, put a knife to your throat. Do not desire the ruler's delicacies, for they are a deceptive food." Then later in Proverbs 23, verses 20 through 21, we read, "Do not join drunkards or those who stuff themselves with food. Drunkards and gluttons will be reduced to poverty. If all you do is eat and sleep, you will soon be wearing rags." Clearly, gluttony is not presented as a good or even a neutral thing in the Bible. It quite clearly should be avoided. So when it comes to the ultimate Christian diet, understanding our hunger and fullness cues is imperative to avoid idolatry with food. Pillar number 3 of the ultimate Christian diet is to fast regularly. This is another element I help my nutrition clients with in the sustainable way. And if the concept of fasting seems scary or intimidating, I totally get it. I was very resistant to it myself for a long time. It honestly just seemed like a culturally accepted form of starving yourself, which I am not a fan of. Plus, I'm a foodie. I really enjoy the act of eating in itself, so I just didn't think I could even do it. But fasting is cited all over Scripture. In fact, Jesus himself says in Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 through 18, "And when you fast, don't make it obvious, as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, that is the only reward they will ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair and wash your face, Then no one will notice that you are fasting except your Father, who knows what you do in private. And your Father, who sees everything, will reward you. Jesus doesn't say if you fast. He says when. He actually says it multiple times because there is an expectation to do it. Now, when I'm helping my clients find the perfect routine for them with fasting, we don't just jump into a multi-day zero food fast. There's definitely a strategy to practicing fasting in a way that's actually healthful. And our modern science shows a lot of evidence pointing to what God already told us with fasting. There are massive benefits, including improved gut health and digestion, mitochondrial health, and breaking strongholds food, or fake food products, have over us. So if you aren't already in the practice of fasting, especially from a faith-led standpoint, please reach out to me at coachrain.com/nutritioncoaching so you can get guidance on how to start. Pillar number 4 of the ultimate Christian diet is eating enough to support your energy. Listen, God is a generous God who gives abundantly. He has never called us to starve. In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8, the Apostle Paul writes, "And God will generously provide all you need. Then you will always have everything you need and plenty left over to share with others." You see, God is a giver who wants us to thrive. While most earthly diets call for some form of deprivation, the ultimate Christian diet is characterized by eating enough to support your energy. However much that means for you as an individual, not some calorie guideline you found on the internet. In the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verses 5 through 9, we read about Elijah. It says, "But as he was sleeping, an angel touched him and told him, 'Get up and eat.' He looked around, and there beside his head was some bread baked on hot stones and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. Then the angel of the Lord came again and touched him and said, 'Get up and eat some more, or the journey ahead will be too much for you.' So he got up and ate and drank, and the food gave him enough strength to travel 40 days and 40 nights to Mount Sinai, the Mount of God. There he came to a cave where he spent the night." This is the perfect example that we are called to fuel ourselves adequately so that we might be prepared to fulfill God's calling on our lives in any given moment. If at any point you feel like you need to deprive yourself of food, please know that that's from the devil, not from God. Just make sure it's real food you are eating enough of. God didn't make processed fake products to fuel our incredible bodies made in His image. And those are usually the things that have a stronghold on us anyway. But when it comes to coaching, this is where the diamond meal framework I have referenced so many times comes into play. Instead of counting calories or weighing food, I give my clients a visual template for how to construct any meal. And then we adjust based on the feedback that their body gives us. Pretty cool, huh? A custom meal plan that actually makes sense. And pillar number 5 of the ultimate Christian diet, lean on Him for strength and perseverance, especially in the face of temptation. And I'm not just talking about the tempting foods or products, but also the temptation of laziness. The "I'm too tired" or "I just don't feel like it" moments. That's when we need Him most. Psalms chapter 46 verse 1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble." And in the book of Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31, we read, "But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint." I mean, there are so many verses about God being our strength. Just like a good father, He wants us to come running to Him, to stay close so He can pick us up, guide our steps, and protect us from the dangers we can't fight alone. I think this really is the missing link from so many diet plans and strategies. Without God, we are dependent on our own motivation and discipline. And scripture also tells us that the flesh is weak. Even when we know the right thing to do, sometimes it's just so hard to actually do. Which is exactly why I made The Sustainable Way. There was a need for nutritional guidance that kept our Creator at the center of it. If we have any chance of doing it the healthy way for the long term without all of the mental side effects, that's what needs to happen. And if you're listening to this, nodding your head, thinking, this makes sense. I've never thought of it that way before. Just like that gal I talked to earlier this week, why don't you book a free consultation call with me to chat more about The Sustainable Way? All you need to do is head to coachrain.com/nutrition coaching, and the button to schedule a time that works for you is right at the top of the page. You can also read more about The Sustainable Way at that same link. So again, that's coachreign.com/nutrition coaching to learn more about The Sustainable Way and even get started as soon as today so that you can make the ultimate Christian diet your everyday normal routine. Okay, let's do a quick recap of the 5 pillars that make up the ultimate Christian diet. Pillar number 1, eat real food, not fake food products. Number 2, don't eat too much. This comes back to gluttony. Pillar number 3, fast regularly. Pillar number 4, eat enough to support your energy. And pillar number 5, lean on the Lord for strength and perseverance. Hop over to coachrain.com/nutrition coaching to get started on making the ultimate Christian diet your lifestyle. And I can't wait to chat more.
I pray this episode was helpful to you, my friend. If so, could you do me a massive favor and take 30 seconds to write a review? This is the best way to bless me big and help more people learn just how simple eating healthy consistently can be. And if you want more value-packed info from me, head to coachrain.com and sign up for the Weekly Harvest, my weekly emails filled with recipes, how to use food as medicine, biblical nutrition, and more. That's coachreign.com for the Weekly Harvest. Blessings until next time, sis. Toodles.